Good morning, YouTube. We have another list from Jalopniks.
Yes.
This one where they're listing the most comfortable vehicles ever built, or the most comfortable cars. And Neelix would say none of the above because Neelix hates cars.
She does, which is a good thing because there's so many going around here and you don't want to run her over.
So you do not want to be privy to this conversation now, skinny Neelix. But yes, their list was actually pretty good for once. I was actually very surprised, and a lot of them I've owned or currently owned. So, shall we get started?
Oh, yeah.
Number one is the Citroen DS.
I've never sat in one. I've seen them sell at Bear Jackson. Never sat in it. Have you?
I owned one very briefly, and the car wizard bailed me out of it. And yes, not only does it have these very, very interesting seats that are so comfortable, but also supportive. The suspension itself, the hydraulic, is so nice. Like, this is an unbelievable ride. I can see why this is at the top of the list because absolutely, the French nailed it with the Citroen. And it may be the most comfortable car of all time.
Why do I feel like we're going to sound like we're 80 years old talking about the comfortability of cars right now?
Right. The next one I do not agree with at all.
Okay.
And it's the Mercedes 123. And this is coming from someone who's owned 30 or 40 of these. So I'm curious because they say that it soaks up all the harshness of the world like a hug from mom without being excessively floaty or sacrificing any chance of coming out of a hairpin turn. Wow. Cat hair.
It's a hairball.
While retaining your lane. They're quiet as a tomb and the drivetrain is smooth as butter.
Whoa.
Which one did you drive? Because it's a clattering diesel with horsehair in the seats. Yes, it's reasonably comfortable and it's very well built, but I mean, is it the most comfortable car on earth? No. There's so many more comfortable Mercedes than this 126, the S-Class, way better. Or the next generation, the 140, the big giant S-Class, way better. These very simple, utilitarian, luxurious, yes, and comfortable, but pretty basic.
They're very artistic in their descriptions, too.
I know.
Which makes me feel like they're all really bored over at Jalopnik right now.
Well, here you go. This is more up your alley, April.
Ooh, how you doing over there?
77 Oldsmobile Tornado.
Oh, yeah. Really? They specifically chose this one.
Yep, my Uncle Jack owned a series of Olds Tornadoes, and I got to drive the 77 across Kansas the summer of my 16th birthday while Jack slept in the passenger seat. And it had air conditioning cold enough to freeze the tits off a polar bear. That was a direct quote from Uncle Jack, apparently.
Great. Uncle Jack knows his stuff.
Yeah, these GM platform cars, several of them front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. They were big, cushy, lazy boys for the road. Yes, absolutely. The Rolls-Royce Phantom is the next one on the list.
Well, that goes without saying. I mean, come on. They're built for comfortability, luxury, to be driven around. But are we talking about the back seat or the driver's seat? Because your Maybach, which is, you know, in that same class where you chauffeur people, isn't super comfortable in the front.
Right, because it has the partition. I would put the Maybach on there, same with the Phantom, of what few modern cars offer that old school luxury experience. And the Phantom is definitely one of them. They give a little bit of modern support, but then very cushy, comfortable seats. So the Phantom is definitely up there. Any Rolls-Royce product, I think, does a great job. The Toyota Century is one that I haven't owned or experienced, but it is the full-size Japanese, you know, sort of luxury limousine.
And this looks like an older one.
Yeah, they put a V12 in them, actually, a Toyota V12, and very, very basic looking from the outside, but yeah, Toyota's luxury Camry, basically. Yeah, the Lexus LS430 is on here. That got brought to the United States from Japan. And yeah, very good, especially when they got into air ride with them, and the seats are extremely, extremely comfortable.
Have you owned one of these? These were kind of that status symbol back in the day if you had one.
Yeah, people who got tired of getting burned from Mercedes and BMW and wanted to make a smart decision but still flex. And yeah, the LS430 and the LS400 definitely fit that really, really well. That now, I know that Genesis is around building their luxury cars, but I don't think that they filled that niche that Lexus did 30 years ago.
Sure,
And yes, it's a cheaper alternative, but I don't think it has that cool factor, even though they are really neat styled cars and all that. The cool factor as far as just with the name, the prestige, they didn't nail with Lexus, I feel like. show. Buick LeSabre is on this list, which I knew that.
The same gen as your Park Avenue?
Pretty much, yeah.
The not
the LeSabre and the Park Avenue, basically the same seats. Enormously comfortable.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's triple-breasted pillow tops. It's, there was in there that one movie where there's a woman with 3 boobs. It has 3 quilts on there.
I'll have to take a look.
It's a sci-fi movie.
I'll have to go for another ride.
I can't remember. But, and then here's another one.
This isn't fair. You can't put this on there.
The conversion vans.
No, they're meant to be comfortable. Like, that's the whole point of them.
Conversion van seats are unbelievably comfortable. And these people make them. This has an Explorer van on there, the Ford version. I have the Chevy version. They make these in-house. The seat frames come from somewhere else. They have them made. And then they upholster them like old school coach work by hand. I made a video on this, toured the factory when I got my latest van. Unbelievable. Like, buy a conversion van just for the seats. If you're a big, like, soft, old school seat snob and you don't want to spend a ton of money. That is a great, great selection. The next one is the Mercury Grand Marquis, which you could say any Panther platform. The Lincoln Town Car, the Ford Crown Victoria. I wonder why they picked this one. Yeah, they say it's the last of the true land barges. You're absolutely right. And it has all the modern conveniences. It is, as far as one of the newest cars you can buy cheap that still has that old school comfort, cushy seats.
Right, yep. You're riding in a cloud on that one,
Right. Sort of like your Lincoln Town Car. Silver Rosé with its blown transmission.
That car is exceptionally comfortable, that should be on this list. I'm just waiting for it to come on.
It's basically a couch now because it's a pain to move and it's stationary.
If you know anyone that redoes transmissions.
The original Lincoln Town Car is
baby.
Here.
Okay, that's the earlier one. But...
Obviously. Somebody put another Oldsmobile, the 78 Oldsmobile 98, which I wonder why they're overlapping, especially same with the Lincoln Town Car. It's the same platform.
The older body.
Here's a weird one. 2003 Hyundai Accent.
Okay. Can you fit in there comfortably? It looks tiny.
Honestly, I think they're right. There's a few like of these cheaper EconoBox cars where they actually made some pretty comfortable seats. Like the 90s Toyota Camry had some pretty decently comfortable seats. But then you buy a 2000s Tundra.
Yeah.
And they're the worst seats ever. Like unbearable seats. But here's what this owner had to say. My 2003-ish Hyundai Accent, all plastic and burning 15 liters per 100 kilometers. It had the most comfortable seats, no pillars in the way of my vision, and a good suspension because they're not trying to make it sporty at all. So it probably rides pretty well. I miss my crappy little car. So there you go.
See, I would have started with that.
Now they're getting somewhere good. 91 Mercedes SEL 500. Like I said, the 126 chassis Mercedes. You're going to go with a Mercedes. We made a video on the 500 SEL to compare it to your Lincoln. You obviously were in favor of the Lincoln.
I was partial to the Lincoln because that's my girl, but they're very cushy and squishy, and the springs and the seats ride really nice. So that's a great riding car.
Right. So they finish it out with the Cadillac Brougham.
Oh,
obviously. The Brougham, and then you got to get the Brougham d'Elegance, and then you get the tufted seat, pillow top seats. And that is probably king daddy of old school comfort and ride in a smooth V8. Pretty close to the top. So what do you think they were missing from the list?
I specifically really like the second gen Broncos. They're very big. They're on the F-Series platform, so they're even bigger. But in, I think it was like 79, they offered these captain's chairs.
Yes.
Which are fantastic. And if you ever sit in one, they're just like, oh, you just melt like butter. They're lazy boys. They have this huge center console with cup holders in it, which you never get cup holders in these old cars.
I
agree. Just like that I would have as living room furniture. Those Gen 2 Bronco captain's chairs are incredible.
So I had an OJ Ford Bronco. Used to do OJ tours. I bought it in Los Angeles.
You didn't do the tours, did you?
No, I bought it from the person who did the tours. They quit doing the tours because it is weird.
Yeah.
And I did tour around Los Angeles and road trip to San Diego. It was very comfortable.
Yeah.
The suspension, it's still, that twin I-beam thing.
Right.
So the ride isn't there. You drove it once, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've driven it.
Because the ride isn't...
I don't care with captain's chairs or where it's at.
Yeah, but as far as overall comfort, that's sort of where it lets it down. But the seats were okay.
Got it. And I'm going to throw out another car that you're probably going to throw up in your mouth a little bit. But I don't know why. I just find them, the ergonomics of how the seat lays is what's comfortable to me.
Okay.
And the man that designed them was very tall. I think he was like 6'4".
Okay.
I'm talking about the DeLorean. I just think that they're so comfortable if you can kind of finagle yourself because they're hard to kind of tricky to get into. But the way that they lay out in the room you have, because I like to gangster lean back, and they're just, I just find them very comfortable.
I don't remember mine being uncomfortable, but I don't remember getting in it and being like,
what's shocking to me is they don't look like they'd be comfortable. They just look like appliances going around in circles. And they fit large people, and I find them to kind of wrap around you with a bolstered side, and they're just, I think they're very comfortable.
Well, my two are the Maybach. You already mentioned it, the Maybach 62, which wasn't on this list. It should be, because it is one of the most comfortable cars. Yeah. Air ride, silky smooth V12, and then these way overbuilt, overstuffed, very comfortable butt supportive seats, the best of modern support.
Did you say butt supportive?
I don't know what I said, but it was very, very, very nice.
Yeah, they are. And they recline. They actually have this footrest that reclines up, so you can pretty much lay down in them.
And then another surprise is my 740IL.
Okay.
That car, I hadn't owned a non-sport package of BMW from that era in a very, very long time. Certainly not one that was nice. They're all been the tighter suspension sport seats, sport-based M cars or M sport cars. But this one is...
I don't believe you, because you're obsessed with the squishy seats, and BMW's always like very firm seats.
It has the right amount of cush. It has an extra little pivot in the seat. So you have the back and then a mid-back, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of adjustment. And then that suspension, which isn't tuned to be sporty, so it's engaging like a BMW is, the ultimate driving machine, but still more tuned towards comfort. And it is amazing. A 98 740IL.
Who would know?
I was very surprised by it. I haven't driven a nice one in a really, really long time.
So you're not putting your Escalade on?
No. Oh, the Escalade. Oh, God. How can I forget the Escalade? That's air ride, the seats, GMT 800s. They're crazy. Oh, boy. I really blanked on that one. Wow. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for reminding me. I almost betrayed my Escalade.
Maybe you're not feeling good.